Hello, everybody. We're here with Cyberse, pure Cyberse, transcode talker Cyberse, the one that Konami so horribly did us dirty by splitting up the structure deck into two separate products, paying $120 for 3 cards.
Deck is still good.
It's okay. So this has to be one of the most expensive, shitty decks out there, but hey, it's fun and it's
Good.
Yeah, sure. But this is a build that I was working with for quite some time. Did a lot of research, did a lot of testing, did a lot of replacements, the ratios and whatnot, and I came up with this, so I hope you enjoy. Starting off, we're going to start with the normal summons. 3 copies of Cyberse Gadget. This is definitely one of your best normal summons. It's essentially 3 materials, so long as you have a level 1 in the graveyard. On normal summon, you can target a level 2 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon it, in defense position, effects are negated, whatever. More importantly though, if this card leaves the field, you can special summon a token. So you revive a level 2 or lower, you have 2 materials, you link them away, you get the token off the effect, so you have 3 materials, which lets you go into your Code Talker monsters pretty easy. The most broken part about this card is since we have ways to facilitate extra normal summons, his first effect to reborn a monster in grave is not a once per turn, so you can get quite a lot of materials out of this guy. Second card is 2 copies of Balancer Lord. 3 turned out to be really bricky. I know it gives you an extra normal summon, but it's not a material that you're just pulling out of nowhere. It's something that you have to pull out of your hand, and in most situations, that's just like kind of crapping out monsters from your hands. So it really doesn't do anything. 2 is fine. You don't need the extra normal summon that badly in most combo plays because you could end up searching the field spell, the continuous spell. So this is good enough. Lady Debug, one of. We can't run more because thanks Salamangreat, thanks Konami for letting it come out first before this deck and then having this broke up. I'm still salty about it. I'm sorry. But Lady Debug, just a generic normal summon, search for an extender. Just a really good card in general. 1 copy of Clock Wyvern. This is the last of our normal summons. I don't run more of this because, again, although it does give us 2 materials on just a normal summon or special summon, it gives us a token, but it can be a little bit cloggy, and they don't extend very well if you don't have that extra normal summon, so 1 is good enough. Now for the card that broke my wallet. 3 copies of Microcoder. This card is really good because it helps you find almost anything in the entire deck, essentially. Its effect is basically if you're going to link summon a Code Talker monster, you can use this card as material from your hand and send it to the graveyard to do that link summon. And if it's sent to the graveyard as material for a link summon of a Code Talker monster as well, you get to search for a Spell Trap Signet card. And if you link it away from the field, you get to search for a level 4 Cyberse instead. So your choice. Searches all your playmakers, your extenders, whatever you need, this card searches it, and there's no need for special summoning shenanigans because you can just duke this right from your hand. In a similar vein, we won 1 copy of Code Radiator. This one is only a 1-of because we search it during combo if you bring out Shooting Code Talker, but it does help go second. It's nice to have a searchable go second card. It has the same effects as Microencoder, whatever the hell his name is. Except if he's linked from the hand, you get to target an opponent's monster and its attack becomes 0 and its effects are negated. If you do it from the field, you get to do that to 2 monsters. So really good for dealing with problematic monsters. You can normal summon it and then link it away with Microcoder in hand, and then you have 2, so that's 2 negates. Really is fantastic, but you wouldn't run more than 1 since we're more of a go first deck with the whole extra link nonsense. Now onto the real extenders that you search. Continuing with the water, a extra copy of C Archive, 1 copy of C Archiver. So if you don't have Microencoder, you search Microencoder. If you do have it in hand, you search C Archiver. Most of the time, you go into C Archiver for the combo, and you can save Code Radiator for an opportunity when you're on turn 3 against your opponent. But it's just a searchable special summon card, so we run that. 1 cop, our wins actually. Let's put them both down. Defcon Bird and Link Infraflyer. These are our win searchable Cyberse monsters. Most of the time, you're going to search for Defcon Bird because it combos with another card that we're going to get to in a second, basically Dot Scapper in the combo. But if you do have Defcon Bird, you can search Link Infraflyer, and they're just extenders. They just help you continue the extra link play. So that's pretty much it. Defcon Burst discards a card for cost to special summon itself, and that's actually not that bad even in non-combo situations, because you can discard some of your graveyard recursion cards, Dot Scapper, Spinny. You can send one of your level 1s to the graveyard, so that way you can, after you special summon this, you normal summon your Cyberse Gadget, special summon it back. So really good overall in the combos. One copy of Cyberse Converter. I cut Backup Secretary. This is our light Cyber Search monster. Backup Secretary has a lot of problems in the fact that it does the same thing as this, but this does more. Mind you, the second effect is non-existent in play most of the time, but this is a level 2, and that becomes very important for the end of the combos that you pull off. Backup Secretary being a level 3. There's one Link monster, Talkback Lancer, that requires a level 2 or lower Cyberse monster. So if you end up your combo with an extender that's a level 3, like Cyberse Backup Secretary, you can't use that to finish off the extra link. You have to use a level 2 or lower. So having this being searchable and being a level 2 just helps you finish off the combos more times than not. So definitely way better than Backup Secretary. And then for our darks, we have Cross Debug and Sim Tablar. I had just regular Sim Tablar in the deck, but I ended up drawing it, even though it's a 1-of, but it's like it doesn't feel good to not have a search target for when you make Code Talker and your continuous spell. So it's nice to have a second target. And the second target special summons itself as well, which makes it really easy for combos past Sim Tablar. Sim Tablar also has the problem that it's a level 5, so you can't make a lot of your Link 1s, you can't make a lot of your other Link plays, because it has to be a Link 4 or lower for some of the other monsters. So having a second option that's a Link 2, a level 2 is much easier. It also has another effect that if you can banish it from the graveyard and target a Link monster that is battling, that monster isn't destroyed by battle, and it gains attack equal to gains attack equal to the target that you banish. So it's really good. It can save you from being OTK'd if you can't make a full extra link, and it's a lot better to have those options. Sim Tablar gives you a level 4 from the graveyard, so it helps for making the next turn plays. Our Earth targets, Dot Scapper and one Link Slayer. Link Slayer is a great card. It's a good starter if you're going first, if you're going second. Just special summons itself. Has the added utility to pop cards in your opponent's back row by discarding cards from your hand. And Dot Scapper is just materials on materials. You send to the graveyard, you get pluses, so on and so forth. We run a very small Salamangreat package of one Gazelle, one Spinny, and one Foxy. They all meld really well together. If you make Power Code Talker, you can search the Gazelle, you can search, and then link away into Balinks later in the combo to special summon the Gazelle, send Spinny to the grave, get 2 materials like that. Foxy is a great normal summon because you can use that to go into one of your Link 1s. And then if it's in the grave, it can recur itself with one of your continuous spells. So there's a lot going on here, and you can mix and match their uses depending on your hands to facilitate more Link plays. And finally, for hand traps, 2 Effect Veilers and 2 Ash. I am a broke boy because Microcoder was expensive, so I'm running Effect Veilers. I would highly recommend Infinite Impermanence. It's just a better card, especially in this deck. So you just have to have some amount of hand traps. You don't want to get screwed going second and then not be able to do anything, so it's nice to have something to stop your opponent. Onto the rest of my wallet. 3 copies of Saina Codec. This is the card that makes the entire deck run for the extra link. If you special summon a Code Talker monster from the extra deck onto your field, you can target that monster and then add a Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand with the same attribute. It locks you out from anything but Cyberse monsters, but that's what the deck is all about. So this lets you make your Code Talker monsters, add a material, special summon that material, so on and so forth, facilitate all your extra link plays. This card is nuts. It's a shame it is really restricted, but I guess for balance purposes it has to happen. Rip my wallet. 2 copies of Saina Optimization. This card gives you an extra normal summon by using its effect, so it's nice to unclog those hands. If you end up getting into Cyberse Gadget and you have the extra normal summon, and you recur it back with Sim Tablar, you can normal summon again, get another material, get back Microcoder for its effects, so on and so forth. So just helps with the extending of plays. Its first effect is if your Code Talker monster battles, Your opponent can activate spell or traps, but nobody runs Mirror Force, so who cares? That was a joke. The rest of my wallet is here as well. 3 copies of Sign Up Mining. Lady Debug is at 1, so we have to cough up the price for Lady Debug Light. But it helps because you can facilitate your graveyard plays. You can send the cards like Spinning to the Grave, Defcon Bird, not Defcon Bird, Dot Scapper, all the other nonsense that's special summoning from graves. Send your level 1s to the grave to special summon with Cyberse gadgets, so need to be played at 3. 1 copy of Sanctuary. This is to search off Bailings. You need this to discard for reborning Foxy from the grave for its effect, so it's just there as a garnet to help you make those plays. 1 copy of One-Time Passcode. Really good card because you don't want to waste your normal summon on something that's subpar, and if you can save your normal summon for when you get a Cyberse gadget to your hand, this is really good to help that happen. It's important to have just something to slap on the board, get a body on board, and go into link plays. Copy of Monster Reborn, same principle, except it has better usages. 3 copies of Call by the Grave. You are a combo deck. You want your stuff to go through, so why would you run less? And the 1 copy of Signet Code Conflict. This is, again, one of the searchable... This is the 1 card you want to have. If you already have Codec and Optimization in hand, you search this. If a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated while you control a Code Talker monster, you negate that effect and banish that card. And not only that, but that monster or that effect, any card with the same name can't be activated for the rest of your next turn, or your opponent's next turn. So really good, because if they play a lot of the same cards and they want to activate another effect similar to it, or rather the same effect, they can't do it. So this shuts down a lot of things. It's nuts. And it's your main protection for things that out your extra link board because your monsters will be untargetable. Yeah. This is your holy crap button. You want to have this if possible.
Great card.
Super good. All right, onto the extra deck. It's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to go make this real easy. Here's our Code Talker monsters. And the link too. So you have to run the Code Talkers in order to get all your pluses, and each one has different effects. For simplicity's sake, I'm going to just explain how you pretty much go into the extra link using the Code Talkers. You start by making Code Talker. Code Talker is your first starter. This, along with Microcoder, lets you search for your Saina Optimization. From there, you get another material, and you make Transcode Talker. Get your search. Transcode Talker will reborn the Code Talker monster, and then you'll link away that next whatever extender you have with Code Talker to make X Code Talker. X Code Talker will block off the main monster zone above Transcode, so that way your opponent can't use an arrow if you have to point to it later in the combo. And then you search your win monster. From there, you have to get creative depending on your hand, but you usually go into things like Power Code Talker to search a Salamangreat monster. You could also make some of your smaller links and go into Mech Knight Crusader Avermax, who is a Cyberse, lo and behold, which is fantastic and offers protection. And then you go into the smaller links, which we'll get there in a second. But that's basically the pattern. You go Code Talker into Transcode, into Xcode, then into your link 4, your link 3, and then round it off with the next monsters that we'll get to in a second. I'm being lazy and I'm not going to show the combo because I'm sure you've all seen it before. There's plenty of videos on how to extra link with it. I can do it for you if you guys really want it. By the way, subscribe if you really want to see it.
Teach them the combo, bro. Come on, teach them
I'll teach them the combo. All right. 1 copy of Trigate Wizard. You never go into this turn 1. It becomes kind of unfeasible to make him to get his full negate, but when you go to turn 3 after the extra link and your opponent's forced to pass because they need their extra deck, you make this to get a negate, to get a banish, and just finish off your opponent with kind of like a finisher. 1 copy of Elphase. This is important to have to help you create the extra link when you're a little light on the materials that you're making. It kind of just touches up that last corner of the extra link. You don't go into it too often, but it's pretty beefy. 2,000 attack. It gains 300 attack for each monster it points to. And you get to target a Cyberse in your graveyard and special summon it if this card leaves the field. So it's an extender after your opponent deals with some of your board if they can't deal with it all. So really good card. One copy of Talkback Lancer. This is how you normally end your combo. You have to go into this card to tribute one of your level 2 or lower Cyberse monsters to revive a Code Talker monster in your graveyard, which is always going to be Transcode Talker. So this helps you finish off that U-Link. You'll put in the top left zone. You'll summon. You'll pay the cost to tribute, and then you'll summon Transcode Talker underneath, and it'll complete that circuit. Really good card. And again, because it's a Link 1 that requires level 2 or lower Cyberse, you have to run level 2 or lower Cyberse monsters and extenders. No level 3s. I mean, you can run level 3s, but you don't want to end on a level 3. You want to make sure you get rid of them first and save the level 1, 2 and lower for later. 2 copies of Salamangreat Balinks. This is used so we can facilitate the Salamangreat plays. You make Balinks, you search for the field spell, you link away Balinks for Balinks. That activates Gazelle in hands, which lets you special summon it, Sang Spinny, da-da-da-da. Get materials, it's fun. And then finally, 1 copy of Link, Disciple, and Devotee. Sometimes you can end up with awkward hands and you just need some extra materials to finish the extra Link. This helps that. And more importantly, that they, along with the materials, Link Disciple can help you cycle for a better card. Hopefully you top deck something that helps you even further. But just generic Link ones to help you finish extra Link. But that's the deck profile. If you guys want to see the combo, I'll prep it in a second.
Come on, I'll go watch
We'll come
the
to a
video
quick
for the
cut,
combo.
and then we'll prep the combo for you guys. So
Why did you
one
say
moment.
that?